Omer, Tafshin Pei, right the day before. We're going to speak a lot about his Torah then tonight, Bezrat Hashem, and explain a very difficult subject, the Omer. Let's go into the Psukim directly and see how difficult this subject is. Sorry, this is not the correct one. Okay, I'm only going to see one aspect of it because there's a lot of aspects to the Omer, and it'd be impossible to attend all of them in that year. So let's go for the third time in a row, third parsha in a row, Daber b'nei Yisrael ve'amartu aleihim. Repetition, tough language, soft language. We explained already in the previous parashas that Daber b'nei Yisrael is to say over the inyan that HaKadosh Baruch Hu transmitted to Moshe Rabbeinu. Ve'amartu aleihim is to give them the say. Whenever it says Ve'amartu aleihim, you should know that the paternity of Bnei Israel is in jeopardy here, because Ve'amartu aleihim equals 723 equals Satan Nachash. Both of them are here. And with that, we're going to start the psukim of the Omer, knowing that there's a tremendous danger. Where can it be the danger? We just have to bring a few, Omer of Seoirim, and I'll explain the mitzvah because I know not everyone is familiar with that mitzvah. I'll explain calmly this, the procedure of the mitzvah so everyone can understand the shir easily. Ki savoyu el haaretz. Now we're talking in a format that, not like in Pasha Sachremos, Ashani, Mevieschem Shama. When you will come to the land, Asher Ani Noisen Lachem. This is a very common language in the Torah. Every time HaKadosh Baruch Hu stresses this. One time I'll get into it very deeply. That I gave you. It's not a Yerusha. You didn't give it to the Abbas HaKadoshim, right? You give him Livneim Acharehem for the children after that. No, I'm giving to you. Is that the same land? Yes, it's the same land, but I'm still giving it to you. But you already gave it to the Abbas. No, I'm giving it to you. Uktsatem es ketzira. And we'll harvest a ketzira is a one cut. No, someone has a field, whatever it is, any grain, it's not one cut. The lashon is very difficult. Uketzartem, uktzartem. What do you mean? Es. It's not say ketzira achas, es ketzira, the ketzira. You see, there's a dagesh in the hay, the ketzira of the land. Interesting. Vahavesem es Omer, and you will bring the Omer. So if that ketzira is the Omer, uksatem es Omer. But that's it. Don't need to tell me you'll bring the Omer. Yeah, we didn't cut it to look at it or to let it rot. Reshis ketzirachem, it should be the first of your harvest. El hakohen. It's not, you see, on the fruits of the trees, we bring the bikurim, which are the first fruits to ripe. Here, it doesn't put the accent on the fruits that ripe. The accent is on ktsira, the first one to cut. So it's another form of Bikurim. So we can see that we have Bikurim because they're all rashis. That depends only in Pashas Kisavoy, only on the fact that they are ripe already. And this is the covet to bring them to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to the Beis HaMikdash. And you have those, the Reshis Ketzirachem, here it doesn't really matter, the status of the grain. It so much matters, these are the first cut. And the Pasuk stresses, don't bring it to the Levi, don't send it through someone, bring it to the Kohen. Third Pasha in a row where the Kohen plays a tremendous role. What is the Kohen supposed to do with it? Veheinif es ha'omer. Okay, it's going to shake it, let's call it that way. Lifnei Hashem, before Hashem. Where else? I mean, what is he coming to exclude? Lifnei Hashem. Is the Kohen working outside the Beis HaMikdash? And it says a word that cannot be translated. Lirtzonchem, as you wish. No, if I wish, I could do it anywhere. And I would ask the Kohen, the local Kohen, to do it for me. I don't have to go to Yerushalayim. So, what is this pasuk telling me, really? V'heinif es ha'omer. Okay. So, even though the other menachos don't require tenufa, the shaking, this one requires tenufa. I understand. But lifnei Hashem litzarchem, I don't understand. Mi macharas hashabos. This will be after the first day. I mean, the first day, on the day of Pesach. So the night is Lela Seder. During the day, we used to bring the Omer. But now it goes back to the Inyan. Yenifenu hakohen. The kohen will shake it. You already said v'heinif es ha'omer. So what are you trying to add me here at the end of the pasuk? As if it's a central mitzvah, the tnufa. Yeah, I understand it's not a mitzvah that is common to the menachos, even though we will see that there's one other mincha that has very common grounds with the Omer, but not the others. But do you have to stress so much about the tnufa? I mean, what is a tnufa so important? I'm keeping on. Vasisem, and you will do beyoim anifchem es ha'omer. Wow, third time the tnufa. Don't you think this tnufa is something light? It's something very important in the Omer. No, I thought the Omer is very important. The fact that it comes from barley, or the way we're going to see in the Mishnah, how it's going to be, it has to be harvested. But otherwise, no. But we see from the pasuk, that's not it. It's the tnufa that's important. Then you bring the korban of the Omer, keves tamim ben shenaso le'oila lashem. And then I'm going to jump in and out of this because I cannot explain the side of the sphere on one foot. I'll touch it because you can't speak about the Omer without speaking about the sphere. Right away, once we brought the Omer, can start the sphere. Like we have a connection between these two. And again, mi macharas hashabos. Mi macharas hashabos. But here it's not true. Here I can understand why, because it's the next day. It was night, it's day. But mi macharas hashabos, no. Here it was day, we're going to do it at night. Miyom haviyachem es Omer hatenufa. Fourth time. After you bring the Omer, what's important about the Omer? Omer hatenufa. Sheva Shabbosos temimois tihiyenu. You will be counting for 7 full weeks. If you look in Parshas Re'eh, it says Shiva Shavuos tispolach. 7 weeks you will count. On this is called the Yontev of Shavuos, on the weeks that were counted. But we don't have another place where it says Sheva Shabbosos, because otherwise you should have called Shavuos Shabbos. Or Shabbosos, because it's a Shavuos Shabbosos, but it's not considered like this. And by the way, Shavuos is the only Yom Tov that's called over a past event versus Pesach that's happening. The Sukkos, we have the Sukkah. So Pesach, you have the matzah, you're drinking the wine. You have the thing. Here is Shavuos is because you have counted. So it's truly the past. The whole name is Ad mimacharas hashabbos. Oh, another time. Macharas hashabbos. We really have an addiction to that word. What is the Torah is hiding behind this word? Keep repeated. Hashavi'is. Hashabbos hashavi'is. The 7th one, Tisperu Chamishim Yom. You will count 50 days. Pay attention, the Yud of Chamishim is gone. Why? We'll see. They craft them mincha chadasha l'Hashem. And now, at that point, you will offer, no, it's not mincha, it's not the Omer. Omer was done before. Mincha chadasha, a new one. Doesn't tell you what it is, but it's a new one. There's plenty of questions in the Mimosh Voiseichem, wherever you reside. Can't you say it's in Eretz Yisrael because you make the machloikes in halacha? Is Omer applying also the Easter of Chadash applies also in Chutz Haaretz? I mean, you're not allowed to have any of the new grains before offering the Omer. So anything that has grown, sprouted before Pesach is mutar with the Omer is matiri. And whatever has not sprouted before Pesach, like the wheat, which is usually planted after Pesach, then it's forbidden to have the wheat of that year. So some in halacha, it's a machlokes if in chutz haaretz the din of Omer applies, and therefore chadash would be also. But definitely the one who's mekil has what to be soymecham. The shetayim shnei sonim chametz te'afeina. Whoa, we starting Pesach, we're not having chametz. We end up in Shavuos with chametz. Bikurim Lashem. Now we're talking about these are Bikurim. Bikurim of what? We already used the Omer for this. These are not Bikurim. I mean, just want to show you that it's a very, very complicated subject because the Omer doesn't come alone. It has to be done in Pesach, in the first Yom Tov of Pesach. So it has to have a connection to Pesach. And the Omer will trigger the beginning of the Sphira. The Sphira cannot start, basically, without yes, it can, but it means you want to have the ultimate Sphira, you have to have the Omer before it, because the Sphira elevates, the Omer elevates the Sphira to another level. What it is. What is this gula in this Omer? Does it ring the bell, this Omer? This word Omer? In Parshas Beshalach, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent the man to the Bnei Israel, he told them each one should get an Omer. No more. So are we bringing an Omer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in retribution for that Omer he gave us of man? Is that what the word comes to relate to? Why do we have to bring a series ha'efa? It has to be a series, a tenth of an ephah. Why? Because we receive a tenth of an ephah of man per person. And if that was the case, we received every day. So why do we have to bring it only on the first day of Pesach? The Omer, if you bring it, you didn't bring it the first day of Pesach, you cannot bring it anymore. So what's the inyan? If it's a din in Omer to be matir, the grains that are gonna grow or that sprouted, okay, what's the difference if I make it the first day of Pesach or the 5th day of Pesach? You know, no. What if it's Shabbos? It's Doiche Shabbos. We can see here, it's not just a din, it's fundamental. To be Doiche Shabbos, it's not given to every mitzvah. It's given to Milah, but to the Omer? What's so important in the Omer? Just to be matir, the new grains? That's the importance? So obviously, there is something much, much deeper than just what is seen in the surface here. I'm going to tell you what the Mishnah says so everybody can be on par and understand what is this Omer. Before Pesach, so Beis Din was sending messengers that they had to go ready on the field and start already bunching the stalks while being still in the ground without harvesting them. And then during Pesach, they were coming, the first day of Pesach, they were coming, so the Tesvav, Tezain Nisan, they were coming. It had to be 3 people. The people from around all had to gather up. It was a mitzvah to cut the Omer with Beroivam Adras Melech, like it's something. And as soon as it was getting dark, the one was asking 3 times everything. Did the sun set? Did the sun set? And they were saying yes. The sunset, yeah. The sunset, yes. Well, you don't understand once? Can't you see for yourself? No, he had to ask. Should I cut with this? I don't know. I'm going to call it knife. I don't know. I forgot what the exact term of this, the round knife that to harvest with. So, should I cut with this? Yes. With this? Yes. With this? Yes. Should I put it in this box? Yes. Put it in this box? Yes. But what's going on here? And then he goes, if it was Shabbos, is it Shabbos? Yes. In this Shabbos? Yes. In this Shabbos? Yes. Should I cut? So he was not allowed to do anything without asking 3 times. Until they tell him, cut, cut, cut. It's very strange. What's so important about cutting? Okay, when the person used to bring the bikurim from his land, he didn't have to ask anybody, no questions and whatsoever. Okay, he used to pick the nicest, put them in a very nice basket, and then bring them to the Beis Hamikdash. Here, no. it's like he's stuttering. Can I this? Obviously, the Omer has a side that is not obvious to us right now. We're gonna see that I'm gonna give you just create a rail because I don't want to lose you. That the Omer, the intended purpose is to be mevatel the midas hadin. In other words, whenever a Yisrael is in a certain position, when he is happy, when he is things are going well for him, there's always huge kitrugim. Yeah, they're not exactly the way they're supposed to be, and they're looking for the details and these guys, etc., etc., etc. And the Omer comes to be mevatel the midas hadin. Why so important? Because the Gemara says in Rosh Hashanah that it's the time we are judged on all the grains, the tvua. It's on Pesach. And since the livelihood of a person is based upon it, so automatically we need right away to work to be mevatel the din. The same way on Rosh Hashanah you have the shofar that's mevatel the din. On Pesach you have the Omer that's going to be coming to be mevatel the din. That's what we're going to see. However, we have to be medakdek in the pasuk. We have to pay attention to a detail, and that's going to be a very telling detail. It's not that, and we mentioned it a little bit, we brushed it up. It's not that the Omer requires to be the first fruits. It requires to be the first harvest. Cut. Reishis ketzirecha. What the pasuk is pointing out, what's the Torah, the tzivui of the Torah is here, that it should be the first harvest. Can I harvest and put my tvu on the side, but I'm not going to touch it until the Omer is offered in the Beis Hamikdash? No, because the ikar of the mitzvah is reishis ketzirecha. It has to be the first harvest. The first cut of your tvua has to be for the Omer. What's lying here that I don't understand? What's so important here if it's the first cut or second cut or anything you like? Why is HaKadosh Baruch Hu so makpid that it should be the first cut? What are we afraid of? That if it's not the first cut, if already harvested all my all my field, and now I left just the Omer standing up, and the shluchah basin come the next day and cut something I was not yotze. I did the Omer. No, the Omer includes one condition. It has to be the first cut. I'm going to just bypass all the Rishonim and the Gemaras, about the Omer. I think we understand now here that there's obviously something hidden in the mitzvah of the Omer. So I would like to and I would like to re-stress two things. First of all, the Gemara calls him the day of the Omer, Yom Hanef. the day where we shook. In other words, the day is not called, despite what we showed as important in the mitzvah of Omer, it's not called by the Omer. There's something more important that supersedes it, and because of that, the day will be called after it is Yom Hanef. It's Omer, but not Omer alone. Omer Hatenufa. That we're gonna, we're gonna shake. What's so important about? So now you didn't bring the you didn't do the tenufa. Okay, your omer is invalid. You're not permitted to have from the new grains. And why? Now let's start going down deeper inside the omer. Because so far, it's not mentioned anywhere what type of grain we had to bring. Chazal and Gemara reveal that it had to be from barley, se'orim. So se'orim, the only other mincha that comes from se'orim is the mincha of the seita. And interestingly, in Menachos, the Gemara says, I think it's Tesvav Amud Aleph, I believe, if I recall. The only two Menachos that require tenufa is the Omer and the one of the Seita. Wow, we're not two extremes. But the Gemara puts them together. If you look in Seita, in Perek Bes Mishnah Dalet, Rabban Gamliel says as a reason why is the Seita brings a mincha of se'orim, barley is it's low end. Because she did the maise behema, and then her mincha has to be a maise behema. So why is the Omer then? Nobody did a maise behema here. So why is the Omer then coming from se'orim? It should have come obviously from something else. If se'orim are so low to the point that they represent the food of an animal, and since she's conducted herself like an animal, therefore her mincha will be the mincha of an animal, of the food of an animal, then the Omer, which going to permit us, and we see there's so many soidos in the Omer to be mevatel the midas adin, and we know that the livelihood of a person depends on the tvua. What's the relationship between the se'orim and all this? Why davka these two menachos that come from se'orim, you're telling me to shake them? To the point that even the day of the tenufa, it's called Yom Hanef. Even the Omer is called Omer HaTenufa. And these are the only two menachos that requires tenufa. Well, how can we compare the Omer, something Kaddish, to the Seita, that's gonna have her punishment for what she did? There's going to be a set of midrashim that are going to be mind-boggling. I'm going to go slow. I'm going to keep on going slow because it is a very deep subject. But this subject applies to everybody's life, every day. And therefore, the Torah made the Omer like this. We will see slowly. The Midrash Rabbah says here, you should never take lightly the mitzvah of the Omer. Because through the mitzvah of the Omer, Avram deserved to receive Eretz Yisrael as a Yerusha. Wow. Abraham Avinu did the Bris Milah. Abraham Avinu did the Akedah Sitzchak. Abraham Avinu did the Chesed. Nobody could do Chesed. He reached the middle of Chesed. He was Mesaken Adam Arishon. I mean, what else? Abraham Avinu. Abraham Avinu, the pillar of the world. No. He would have not gotten Eretz Yisrael had he not before the mitzvah of Omer. Don't ask me, I don't know. I try to search where Abraham Avinu was Mekayim, the mitzvah of the Omer. But the Midrash brings a pasuk totally out of context. Because if you read there, it's talking about the mitzvah of Milah, and he's going to touch it up in the mitzvah of Omer. It says, Ve'ata es berisi tishmer, and you will keep my alliance. What is the alliance? Which one is called the alliance? It's the Omer. And this is not just one Tana that says that. Rabbi Abun, Rabbi Nechemia, Rabbi Yaakov bar Abba, B'Shem Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Simon, Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, Rabbi Yochanan. But the master, Rabbi Yochanan. But look how many Tanaim follow this. Can be. Yes, we touch up the pasuk us talking about Bris Milah, but all these Tanaim Akdoshim, they touch it up. No, it's the mitzvah of the Omer. And that's why it says afterward, right after, "Venosati lecha al zarecha acharecha," and I will give it to you and your descendant after you. The Yerusha of Eretz Yisrael from the Yidden, from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, was only deserved through the mitzvah of the Omer. Resh Lakish comes up with another touch. He says, don't belittle the mitzvah of the Omer, because the mitzvah of the Omer makes peace between a man and his wife. Because of barley's flour. Resh Lakish, are you talking about maybe Mincha Soita, no? The Mincha of Soita is making peace. But not the Omer. The Omer is not given to the Soita. But a better question. What is testing? If you look in Parshas Nosoi, in the Parasha of the Soita, what is testing the Soita if she is Tamei or she is Taher? The Mei Hamarim. What she drinks. The Haya Imal Amal, and if she sinned, the Tzavsa Bitna, and then she explored, and her limbs are falling off her body. Terrible death. But he doesn't say it's the Minchas Ha'orim. So how he was working with the Soita, first he would bring the Kohen, the Mincha, offer it, and then he would give her Mei Hamarim. But what was testing her is the waters that were going inside her and testing if there was the nefesh of another person, the boel, inside her. And at that point, she was finished. So why is Resh Lakish? So Resh Lakish is giving me Kaviyachol two wrongs. He's touching up the Omer as if it would be the Korban Soita. And number two, it's not the minchas knois, the mincha of the Soita that would shake her. It was the Mei Hamarim. Look in the psukim. How can you tell me something like this so mind-boggling? I would like to show you this. I don't want to lose you, so I would like to show you this in the psukim themselves, so you understand that we're talking about, we basically crossed the separation between them and Resh Lakish. It says here, "Vehevies karbana aleha," and he will bring her korban on her. She has to carry it. Asiri saifa kemachse oirim. And after that, you have the psukim that talk about how the offering was made and the knufa. Now after the, and then vehaya im nitmeya vatim oil mal beisha. And if she was a moired, she became tame. Uvauba hamayim am arerim lemarim. The bitter waters will come as a curse. You can't be clear in the pasuk that the kemach se'orim, the barley's flour, has nothing to do with checking her. And obviously, if the Tanoim HaKadoshim told us something like this, mean they're basically revealing us a huge secret. But it's still hidden. If you look at the Yefetayah, Yefetayah is one of the Mefarshim on the Midrash Rabbah. If you look at the Yefetayah, we're going to jump even higher. He says there are many sgulas in the Omer, hidden sgulas in the Omer, because through it HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends bracha in the land. He's refraining. The Gemara says tlalim roim, ruchos rois, and tlalim roim. That shouldn't be, bad winds or bad rain. The Omer comes to reattach the Bnei Yisrael to La'avihem Sheba Shamayim. I don't know if you saw that in the pasuk. Me, I didn't see it. Exactly like the mincha of a soita, which bounds back the wife to her husband if she did nothing. Meaning, it's very challenging, even svara-wise. The husband accused his wife. She's getting shamed in front of everyone. She's going to go through the process, and it comes out she's tahor. And now they're going to live like two new birds that met each other for the first time. How is it possible? She's not human. She doesn't keep a grudge on him. And him, okay, she didn't marry him, but at the end of the day, you know what? I went through Ruach Kina, and it can't be any more the same. No, the Torah guarantees that it's going to be renewed. The love is going to be renewed. And if you look in the Targum Yonasan, right away she will have a boy. And that's going to be the Siman. What about the shame? What about the neighbors that all came to the Beis Hamikdash to see the process, the procession of the Kohen taking care of a woman that's suspected of being choite, like terrible chet and so forth? How can she show her face outside? Is it not going to affect her emotions, her feelings? Nothing. In contrary, the Yefetayah used that in order to tell us that the Omer is getting us closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Ketores, which the Targum is Kitra, a nut. This, we know, the purpose is to reattach the Bnei Yisrael to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kitra. But Omer, where is it? Where is it here, just as a remez mentioned that he makes a bomb. The only time we're going to see that is by the Soita. You want to tell me maybe the Seorim, they have a special sgula, the kind of a Baba thing, that when you eat Seorim, automatically there's a bomb. No, then we would have had emphasis on the Seorim themselves, not belittling the Seorim. So where is it? Is he taking such a thing? This midrash is really a pattern. Then the midrash goes on and speaks about Gideon before he was saved from the milchama in Ammon. Why? Because of the mitzvah of Omer. What's in that mitzvah that can save lives? Not only one life, but the life of Bnei Yisrael. Ammon at that time was much stronger than the Bnei Yisrael, to the point that when he asked him, why do you fight with me? What do you want to do when we don't fight? He says, cut the, I think it's the left ear of every Jew and bring it to me. Gideon said, absolutely not. What is here such a sgula that supposedly there's nothing in the Torah that is not hinted in the Pesach? Nothing. All the chachma of the Torah are in the words. We asked enough questions to know that there are words that we have to check. But right now, in general, since the seorim that we bring from for the Omer are considered a Michael Behema, now we have to think a little bit deeper. We know that Behema equals 52. We learned that enough time. I don't want to write it. You know this from the Shulchan, from every leg of the Shulchan, and so forth. Maybe I write it just to show you something else, to give you another chiddush today. Why not? Okay. Okay, we brought Seorim. Sorry. It's Behema. Behema equals keyboard equals 52 equals Yud Hey Vav Hey. And we know Adam equals 45 equals Yud Hey Vav Hey. So now we know that Adam of Hema Toshia Hashem, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should help us to bring the name of the Shechina, which is Yud Hey Vav Hey, to the name of, to recreate a kesher between the Malchus and Kucha Berim. Like if you take these two, equals 97, equals, you know, 4 times equals Shulchan, but here each one equals Zman. That's why we have Zman Cheruseinu. Every time we in a regel, so we have 4 regalim exactly like the Shulchan. The inyan in a regel is to raise the Shechina that we left alone during, we didn't attend the Shechina, we didn't think about what we do about the Shechina, but when in the regel, it's the Zman. So we can benefit from the Segula of that regel. Like in Pesach, it's the Cherus. All right, just wanted to show you this, that it has more than just the Shulchan into one side, has different effects. But now we're coming to Shavuos, we're in between. So we're going to be in Chol HaMoed. In Chol HaMoed Pesach, and we do this. We do the Omer, and we bring Seorim, and we know now that we have a inyan. So maybe by the Soita we can say, maybe by the Soita she's a true behema, but here it only comes to hint about the name of the Shechina that we have to bring up to the name of Kucha Berichu and create a union. It would be nice, right, to say things like this. But there's so many holes, we're not going to start puncturing it. It's not worth it. I'd rather show you in the continuation of the Midrash. Rabbi Levi Omer, do you know why it happened the nace of Purim? Only because of the Omer. There was no Beis HaMikdash there. How can you do the Omer? Says Rabbi Levi, reading the parsha of the Omer also engenders sgulas like the Omer, to the point that all Am Yisrael was saved from the hands of Haman because Mordechai took the children and started learning the parsha of Omer. In other words, he did it bedavka because the side of the Omer is always to be matzil the Bnei Yisrael and the other side, the Midas Adin, cannot against it. That's a statement. That's a huge statement. That the whole nace of Purim started when Haman came after Pharaoh couldn't sleep and told him to go take him on the horse and the cloth of the Melech and on the horse of the, when the Melech was crowned, that's that white horse there, he had to take it and put Mordechai on it. So, and then he saw Mordechai and he says, what are you learning? He says, I'm learning the parsha of the Omer. So he asked him, is the Omer made out of silver or gold? No, it's grains. Which grains? Sorry, not even important grains. Is it worth a lot? No, it's worth 10 money. And this is what he told him, you 10 money have beat my 10,000 shkalim. That's where Purim, the nest of Purim. Not when Esther went, not when they fasted during even Pesach, nothing like this. It's when this is where it started. And Bishus what? The Omer. Omer Tenufa. Now we only talking about the part of the Omer that is Omer. And I haven't touched the most important part, which is the Tenufa, because we call him, remember, Yom Hanef and so forth. The Zohar HaKadosh in Parshas Emor says that the whole inyan of the Omer is for Bnei Yisrael to reattach themselves with the Malchus. Again, the Yefetera says husband to wife, wife to husband. Here, it's Bnei Yisrael being attached to the Malchus. And why they brought Seorim? Because Seorim comes from the side of the Gvuras, represent the side of the Dinim. Chitim is, so meaning the 7 varieties of fruits of Eretz Yisrael are all keneged the 7 spherois from Chesed to Malchus. The one, Chitos, Oira, Gefen, Teina, Veriman, Erezeh, Shemen, Udvash. So the Seorim are keneged the Gvuras, are keneged the Dinim. So we're not talking about the Sota anymore here. We're talking about truly inside. Now we're taking pieces by pieces, and the Zohar explains everything here. Why do we do Seorim? Because Seorim are always the first to ripe or to grow, whatever you want to call it. And always to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we do not delay. So now it seems to be a different answer. If you tell me because Seorim is a Gvuros, I don't care if they're first or second. I want to bring the Gvuros. But no, the Zohar says, on top of this, not as another time, like it's the continuation of the explanation why Seorim are being brought into the Omer. And he says, because they're the first one to ripe. In other words, this tells us how the midas schar and oynesh works. Schar always takes time. Good stuff takes time in this world. Oynesh is always the first one. The other side don't think much. I can get this now. It's like someone who's after stupidities in his life. It's always, nah. I don't care. I'm not thinking about tomorrow. But tomorrow you can have more if you wait. No, I'm not thinking. I want now. Like a baby, everything to take. So the dark side is the first one to write. It was the first one to say, you know what? I have enough dinim I can punish. I'm not waiting for bigger dinim. I'm going right out and I'm punishing them. And very, very interestingly, you're going to say, wherever we turn, it's a wall, a huge wall. And the Zohar explains there, says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu complains to the Bnei Israel. I gave you an Omer in the midbar, an Omer of man in the midbar. And you give me a man of Seorim. One second. Zohar Kodesh. It's the pasuk. HaKadosh Baruch Hu daber b'nei Israel v'amatu aleihim. It's the Torah that commanded this. If it was up to us, we would give HaKadosh Baruch Hu chitim. But the Torah wants, as you said yourself, the first one. The first one is the Seorim. So why is HaKadosh Baruch Hu complaining to us? And the Zohar finishes without explaining that by saying, Zois Torah's haknois. If you want to understand this, you have to understand the mincha of the Seder. Without understanding the mincha of the Seder, no chance you understand the mincha of the Omer. And says the Zohar, why from Seorim? Because this is when you say that, what's the word? The word is a warning to women that if they are choite chas v'sham, they will be judged with kemach seorim. Obviously there are Zohar and Zohar, but this one is above and beyond. Look how many corners is trying to cover without telling us what's the main dish. But since he mentioned that we have to understand a little bit of the Soita, I think we have no choice, and we're gonna have to go to the Soita and understand her mincha in order to come and understand the mincha of the Omer, where it says in a short way, clearly and everything, in the Tikkunim. In the Tikkunim, the Zohar says about a man or woman that Chalila was over on Arayis. The Zohar is Mechadesh, a huge Chidesh. And it says, The last 5 dibros that we were ordered on Har Sinai, do you know why were they said? They were said with the mind to these 2. Who are the 2? Nachash, Eshes, and Nunim. It's not my name, it's not my words, it's not my touch. These are the words of the Zohar. In other words, Lo Sirtzach, Lo Sinaf, Lo Sachmoy. And then we all said with the mind to these 2. In other words, the Zohar is megale that in this Isurim, the person's right away goes under the shlita of the Nachash, which is the male, and Eshes Nunim, which is the female. Why we call her Eshes Nunim the Zoina? Because she is a Shifcha to the Malchus and a Zoina, because she is not faithful to her husband. She goes sleep with everyone. And why? Because she wants them to see Crete. So, and people think it's only a dream. It's not a dream. Crete 310, Omer 310. Might be something. This puts us on. So the touch here is where do you see Lo Sirtzach? Because the son, with what he did with Chava, he brought death to the world. He enticed her to eat from the Eitz Hadas. He brought Lo Sinaf, because he had relation with Chava. And that's why David HaMelech says, Hatzila mecherev nafshi, save my life from the sword. But more than this, miyat kelev yechidasi, my yechida from the kelev, which is the Eshes Nuni. But she has many names and everything. It's another parsha. I can explain here. And these are attached to the person in the form of the legions, which are the olas, the 3 olas which are on the bris, which are mashchis, af, chema. The 3 olas which are on the bris are the one that are being used to punish a person. So when a person is born, he already has the midas adin on him, and the bris milah removes the midas adin. Now all of a sudden we're going to think about Avraham before the altar is berisi tishmer, that the pasuk basically talks about bris milah, but the Tanaim ties it up as a mitzvah of the Omer. We'll see. It's going to become very clear. What's the din of the noyef and the noyafes? What's the din of the person, the man and the woman? It says in the pasuk, mois yumas. Die, they will die. Touch up Chazal, died in this world, they will die in the next world. In other words, no olam haba, no nothing. They become a ruach ra, they become whatever. If we take the words of the Zohar about the 3 olas, because now they were choite with the bris where the oil law used to be, right? So now we have mashchis, af, and chema equals to 902. 902 equals mois yumas. In other words, if you want to see the punishment, who carried out the punishment, it's the 3, and they are the one carrying the punishments all the time. Now, the words of the tikkunim takes another light. In other words, anyone that's over on these isurim, on the last 5 years, dibros, automatically he falls into the hands of the two nechashim, and he will have no life here and no life in the world to come. You're going to ask me? We see people in the living. there are, a midrash there also, but I'm just going to tell you a few words what the Gemara says. Afal pi that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed and the Sanhedrin is no longer in existence, but the Arba Misa is based in, look at the Gemara there, the Arba Misa is based in are still in existence. A person dies in a car crash from an Islam, and the metal stabs him. A person dies in a house in a fire. A person goes on his roof and try to arrange, there's a leak and falls off the roof. He doesn't understand himself how he fell off the roof, but he falls off the roof. Skila. A person walks in the forest, all of a sudden you have a big bear coming and maul him. Skila. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu has many shluchim in order to carry out the deal. But I would like to understand what's the relationship to the Omer. Is the Omer, now that you're telling me we saw before that the Omer was mevatel the midas adin, that was as Zohar said, they reattach themselves to the Malchus and be mevatel the midas adin. Does it mean that all these dinim from these three olos the same way we had a bris milah on the 8th day, not the 7th? We count 7 weeks we're starting the 8th week is Shavuos. We have 7 days from birth. 8th day is the bris milah. Do we say that it's also type of a bris milah because a person was choyte during the year, and once we bring the Omer, this Omer is going to be mevatel the din. That would be huge. That would be huge. We would understand the hugeness of the Omer. Because he's not coming to be mevatel small dinim. It's in essence another bris. Mashchis avchema gone. They have a din gone. What would they be gone? I didn't copy that pasuk. I made a mistake, but I'm going to try to, because time flies as usual. Could have shown you some. I'm going to show you something quickly. Can't show you the whole thing. So the Zohar said we have here on the second set of the Dibros, it's just they were said specifically with these two in mind. This equals 1,222. This equals 2 times Torah, which we're going to receive on Shavuos. In other words, when we know that the Schusim of Torah are the highest level, don't you think because you have some merits through the learning of your Torah, don't you think that they can even affect someone who touches the the last 5 Dibros? He is there The Nachash Eshezenuni, nothing else to do. Torah cannot even withstand a din like this. And why twice Torah? In and out, meaning you're true ben Torah, but you started, the person when sinning with this, he is finished. That the one exit that takes the person off the cliff. Maybe I'll show you another one. To show the weakness of a person, it says, Ve'eshes ish nefesh yekara tatsu. Now you think you have Torah, you protected. Shlomo HaMelech comes and says, no, 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 my friend. An Eshes ish, a married woman, even if you're a nefesh yekara, a very special nefesh. What is nefesh? Equals 430. Equals Tzadik Yesod Olam. We're not talking about just anyone. We're talking about a Tzaddik Yesod Olam. He went up to the level above the Malchus, like Yosef HaTzadik. He is in the Yesod, and he will fall. And now we're not talking about just any Nefesh, any Tzaddik Yesod Olam. The top of them. Because look what he's adding here, Yekara. She will trap him with no effort. Tatsud, she will trap him. Now, if we take them both, just to see what the message of Shlomo HaMelech is, 745. Giloy Arroyos. A man has no defense for it. As we mentioned in the previous sharing, Gezel be Giloy Arroyos, Nafshoy Shel Adam Mechamdasan, the nefesh of a person desire them, and he wants them. So a person who's putting himself in a situation with a woman which has a bad character, and she decided to entrap him for whatever reason, she will succeed. He is the tzaddik of the door. He's not only any tzaddik yesod olam, he's the tzaddik of the door. He will fall. Nothing protects from this when a person is choite on the last 5 dibros. Nobody. Nobody can say, I remain a tzaddik. En apotropos le'aroyes, afilu chasid shebechasidim, Chazal say in the Gemara, en apotropos, no one can guarantee a person that he's not going to be choite in aroyes as long as he's alive. Nobody can say, I will not ever be. The Zohar HaKodesh says in Pashas Tzav, praise be the Bnei Yisrael. Why? Because the Eshes Chayil, the Malchus, was never lying, meaning she never, what do you say in English this word? Okay, I don't have it, sorry. she never okay, for now I'm going to translate it, lied to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, meaning she never went she was never moired Chaz Shalom in HaKadosh Baruch Hu like the Esher Zenunim does to the Malach to the Satan. She never cheated. That's the word I was looking. And to the point there that the Zohar says the Malchus herself is asking the question, how can a woman cheat on her husband? How is it possible? And therefore, she is the one in charge of punishing that woman. It says about the Shechina, Eshes Chayil miyimtza v'rachayik mipninim micha. Who can find an Eshes Chayil that is a trustworthy woman? And it says in the pasuk, Eshes Chayil ateres bala. A trustworthy woman, she becomes the keser of her husband. In other words, women on a higher level than men, only because of the chetz et das, they were punished. And one of the curses is that the husband will be shoylet on them. And what's the punishment? The punishment is carried out, the Zohar said, through the mincha of Se'orim that the Soita will bring there. Okay. We saw that in the Yefet Torah before on the Midrash, and asked a few questions because it's not what kills her. It's the Mei Hamarim that kill her. I just want to focus here a second and give you already here, put a stage because it's very late, so you understand the inyan of the Omer, but the inyan to us. Let's go. I just would like to copy first a pasuk on page 13. But I'm going to base myself on this pasuk. Okay, now let's go for a final round here. It says in the pasuk what the Zohar brought down. Oh, sorry. Isha kisishte ashes. It's Isha kisishte tachas bala, and he says asher tiste Isha tachas Isha. He doesn't use the word. He could have written it like this, with a samech here instead of a shin, because tiste means getting off the derech, but that's not what the Torah intends to say. Hisishte. Why? Because shoite equals 314 equals shakai. There was a Isser done with the Yesod. The Yesod and the Malchus got separated. You know, in the Torah, shoite is written without a vav. And this is the pgam. We see that it's being made. Tell us Chazal, en adam choite ela imken nichnas boy ruach shtus. A person never sins unless came into him a ruach of shtus. Ruach of shtus equals 716. equals nachash. Nachash, starting having thoughts, he's starting having looking at the wrong things. Automatically, ruach shtus comes in him. The two nechashim inhabits him. Why? Because with the machshava ra, the hirurim, and the neshama and all the kedusha that he had in him left him. We've seen that before, and therefore, and that's why he falls in the hand is moisyumas, because if we take asher tiste, repeated a few times there, equals 714, equals one more than tshuva. There's no tshuva. There's punishment. Tshuva would alleviate a little bit, maybe on the that it shouldn't be yumas completely in the next world, but tshuva cannot, like on the other chataim, he removed them from uproot them totally. Here cannot uproot them. Why is she bringing kemach se'orim? I'm going to write it with the vav, as Isaiah wrote it. That's her mincha. This equal to 768, equal to bes pe'or. Mamish falls on a thing. She did the pi'ur, disgusting act. You know, you don't want anymore to live in your house and everything. You want to, fine, get divorced and move on. And even that, it's also. But you know what? It's not as bad as what you have done here. Because the woman represents the malchus, the man in the house represents the kucha berichu, and you created a huge separation. Equal even shesiyah, the stone that's under the kodesh hakodashim on which the whole world stands. That's what you have removed from under your feet. That's why she has no more standing. Who's called even shesiyah? The malchus. The malchus is okay. We have the yesod that holds the binyan, but under the yesod you have the malchus that holds the yesod, and automatically the whole binyan. That's what she took off from under her feet. And why dafka she brings se'orim? Which equals to 636, I believe. No, it's 626. 626. Because here it's going to show us where her mistake was done. She brought on her the clippers. Mashchis avchema, she's finished. Okay, I couldn't, it's my nature. No. No. You could have done that against Chayim. The way to save yourself, sneeze. You want it to be no, but let's say I'm going to go like like a prost person in the street, and I'm going to do, yeah, not sneeze, nothing. You would have put yourself under a veil. There's no nature that can beat that. So now we see the side of the worst possible dinim, and we know that at the time when Bnei Yisrael were in Eretz Yisrael, Mashchis Avchema were Mekatreg on the Bnei Yisrael. We had, I promise you to touch Shviras HaOmer, I didn't even have time, but I'm going to give you one thing. Equals 1071, equals Knesset Yisrael, which is the Shechina. So we're rebuilding. Basically, it's metaher. The Shviras HaOmer is metaher. The Zohar is clear. Zohar saying this is metaher, the Bnei Yisrael, and the Shechina. I want to bring this, but If we're taking now, Vahavesem, as we said in the Pasuk, Vahavesem es Omer Reshis Ketzirechem. What is Vahavesem es Omer? Because we said, just say the Ktsira of the Omer. No, there's a special mitzvah in bringing Uktsatem es Ktsira. So we understood from this that cutting the Omer is the most important. And then we have another mitzvah, Vahavesem es Omer. And we asked the question before, if cutting the first, the Omer is the main mitzvah, then he should have said, Uktsatem es Omer, Reshis Ketzirachem. No, there's Vahavesem es Omer, you will see. What's the Hava? The Hava and the Tnufa, the most important thing. Vahavesem es Omer equals 1,165. Equals Ab Kasa time 5. The 5 Gvuros. By the way, Omer, I didn't tell you, Ab Kasa equals Matzah. The Lechem, the Matzah, on the thing. I'm telling you, this is one of the subjects where I really suffered. To try to organize everything because it comes at you. We have the shemes of the Chochmah and the Bina, the Ameir to the person when they bring the Omer to the Beis HaMikdash. And says the Zohar, when you bring the Omer, all the klippos were running away. They didn't even want to have any more dinim, and all the dinim were annulled. Why? Because we know Vahavesem es Omer equals there's 5 Gvuros. 5 times 135 equals 1,165. No. 5 times Abkasa. No. Abkasa is 233. Sorry. It's not Matzah. Abkasa is 233. 233 times 5, yes, equals 1,165. So when we bring the Omer, it did have a koyach, not because it's the Omer, not because it's Oirim, it's because what he has across and to be mesaken on the same side. So we have the Tuma, we know what he does with the Kemach Se'oirim, we have the Omer. In other words, a person should never say, what do we learn from here? A person should never say, no, it's not, it's saying I'm like this. Not true. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave to every one of us the power to overcome. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Babi Troinio, Albir Yosef, HaKadosh Baruch Hu never comes with something that would overpower a person. He brings him just to the level of what he can take, but never above. And during the Sphira, we are rebuilding, even though it's only a Dibur, even though it's only something very short. How do we rebuild with the Dibur? It's a whole other Inyan, but I can explain it today. But this Dibur should be made with the Leshem Yichud, should be made with the Yeratzon afterward, to be Mesaken and say the Midah and really mean it. Think about it. That has an effect of correcting the person. For in 2 seconds, the Chataim took all the things, and here we have an opportunity to be brought up to a level on Shavuos, which is the Bina. That's why Tevuah. That's why we need doing. What it means, the Gemara said in Rosh Hashanah, we are judged on the grains because Tevuah equals 455. This is what we have to lose. We either going, the panas of the whole year, we either going on Shavuos into the Bina, which is 455, Kasa, Kama, Kana, all the shemes of the Bina, or Chas v'Shalom, the person is going to go through hardship. And that's the problem. these two Chagim, this man between the Chagim, it's not a Zman where we are mourning and we have, no, it's a Zman where we are elevating ourselves. And how do we elevate ourselves? With small things. It doesn't require, what requires is a chukka, the will. The true will to raise ourselves. V'hiskadishtem v'yisem kedoishim. Have the will to become Kaddish, and you will become Kaddish. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu, amen, amen.